Hello all. Very good afternoon to all those who are present and who will be present in the next few minutes. So, we are here with our problem solving session. Now, many of you might be thinking that, we had a session yesterday and now we are having it again. So, just to clarify, since it's a 12-week course and, our idea is to give as much information, as much learning as possible to you guys. Right now, with that notion in mind, what we have done is we have also added a few extra sessions for you guys. Okay, what happens in this extra session is that we give you extra set of questions which are very different from your ongoing live assignment, and even the set of 10 questions which we discuss every week. Right. So what we do is we from the very content, from same content, what we do is we generate more questions, and on all these questions, what we do is we try and uh, you know help you understand what are the ways by which questions can be formed, question can be asked, and then how do you get to solve those questions. Okay, so we are discussing even that aspect now. It's a 12-week course. So what we've done is that we'll be having two extra sessions. So like we are having the first one today, wherein we'll be discussing a good amount of set of questions. Now these will be more than 10 questions. So earlier, up till now, we have been focusing mainly on 10 questions. But today we'll be discussing around 33 questions or so. So it is like a good question bank which will be available to you. And it is something which you can refer to, ponder upon, and you never know. I mean, the questions can come from here as well, right? So the intent of these sessions has been primarily to help you as much as possible in making the content understand, and our attempt has always been that how we can create sessions which are beneficial for you guys, right? So we have a good deal of questions with us, approximately 30-35 questions we have today, which we'll be discussing with you guys. uh, we'll give you time to think, ponder upon, and then let us know the correct answer. Meanwhile, what we can also do is that we'll also tell you the correct responses of it, right? So, like in every session, what we do is we start and initiate with the set of protocols, right? And that's what I'll be showing it to you guys. So, if you've already seen that slide deck, you can sit back and relax. And but once we are starting the set of questions, expect you guys to you know be active and take the questions as expected. Right? So with that short brief, let me share my screen and we'll start the session between. This is basically the recording tool. All right, I believe my screen is visible. So what you see here is the first extra session, and course is understanding incubation and entrepreneurship. The instructor is Professor Chakravarti sir. I'm your TA, the person who is conducting these live sessions. My name is Abhishek. Okay, so let me just quickly brief you about myself. My name is Abhishek Srivastava. Uh, Currently, I am a research scholar. So those who might not know what this means, this is basically equivalent to a PhD student. All right. So a PhD student is also called a research scholar. At the same time, I'm also a PMRF, which is the Prime Minister's Research Fellow. And I am currently pursuing my doctoral journey at the Department of Design at IIT Roorkee. Those who are not aware where Roorkee is, you might have heard of a place called Haridwar. And even if you've not heard that, then obviously you would have heard about Uttarakhand. Okay. Now, before initiating my doctoral journey, I had worked at many places. So if we segregated, so I was a part of educational institutions, and I was also working in companies. Okay, so I had worked at UPID Noida, which is a state government institute in Uttar Pradesh. I worked at World University of Design in Haryana, and I also worked at the Department of Industrial Design, Delhi, NSPL. All right. In terms of companies, I had worked at Infosys in Bengaluru as a senior user interface designer. I also worked at Think Design, and that was in Delhi. And I had also worked as a partner at Vilava Design. So that was an LLP, and here I was the co-founder for that. So that is my instinct as a entrepreneur. All right. Now talking about my academic background, so I did my MDes. Those who are not aware, it is the Masters of Design, and before that I did the Arch, which is the Bachelor of Architecture. Both of them I did it from SPLE. This is the CFTI, which is the Centrally Funded Technical Institution, and a very premier institution for architecture. Right. By the way, IIT Roorkee, this Department of Architecture is currently, DAP is currently NIRF rank 1, and that has been there since last 5 years. So that is a big thing which they've been able to manage. All right. So that is a very brief background of who I am and what is my background and currently what I'm doing, what kind of experience I carry. So this entire professional experience is of around 8 plus years, with overall academic journey of around 7 years, wherein this is a 5 year course, architecture is a 5 year course, and MTES is a 2 year course. All right. Okay. So these sessions are there to help you in the current run of course and will help you, you know, attempt the questions which are week specific. And every week there is a content which is released, and according to it, we develop questions which are attempted, and you get to know the responses of it and how it is attempted. We also respond to the questions and queries. If you have any doubts, we can resolve them. Apart from that, there is also a functionality of the platform called discussion forum, which I'll be telling you, how to utilize it. And then what we do is we do content recap of the ongoing week. Now, since today is an extra session, we won't be covering that. But instead of it, we'll be having a lot more of questions, good amount of questions to discuss upon. Okay, so these are certain ethics and etiquettes which we expect everyone to follow, which is to keep your mic on mute and to avoid any noise disturbances because all these sessions are getting recorded. And once they are recorded, they are also uploaded. Okay, so to maintain the sanity of the recording, you do it. You can unmute and speak if you have any questions or you are responding to any of the questions which we have raised and asked. And the best way to ask a question is to utilize the discussion forum functionality. Okay. Now, if you have not yet used it, I'd like to highlight here that the moment you click on ask a question, you can actually raise a question using that. Okay. So it's not that tricky. You need to explore the entire NPTEL platform base, and things will be much more clearer, easier, and comprehensible. Okay. I'll just quickly check the recording aspect. Yes, it is getting recorded. That's fine. All right. Let's get back. Okay, so these recordings and these sessions are available at one place. You don't have to worry about these huge and humongous links because on the click of it, you can actually easily access it. Okay, so if you see here, this is called the problem solving session link. You click here, it opens up a spreadsheet, and in that spreadsheet, there is week wise data which is given and which is available to you. So, so for example, if you would like to see week one, week two, week three, and likewise, it will be available. And for the corresponding week, you will have the YouTube link. So for every week, there will be a YouTube link. However, the presentations are uploaded at a common drive, which is the Google Drive. And all the presentations are converted to PDFs and they are available for your reading, for downloading, for understanding the content in a much better way. Okay, so this is the course preview. I think everybody understands this very clearly. The course is understanding incubation and entrepreneurship. The instructor is Professor V.K. Chakravarti sir. The overall run of the course is 12 weeks. And yesterday we covered the week 7 content and a set of 10 questions. So this was covered in the yesterday's session. All right. And the week 7 deadline is 10th of September. So there is still time left. If you have not submitted it, please do it. The final examination is expected to be on 26th of October. There are two slots to it. So whatever physical venue you have to reach, whatever you have submitted as your choice and preference city. So in that preferred city, most likely you will be getting the center and in one of the two slots. So the first slot is the morning slot and the second slot is the post-lunch slot. Okay. So it is just like another physical examination wherein you must have given your board examinations or your university exams. It is something like that, which basically means that you'll be given a hall ticket and you'll have to reach there with your ID card, show it to the concerned person there, and then you'll be allowed to enter the center. Then you have to attend the final examination. Okay. Now, what you see here is the progress tab. Now, the progress is highlighted in three different aspects. So, this is the progress tab, and this is what has been highlighted. So, assessment scores are basically your week-wise scores. What all you attempt from week 1 to week 12. So, all the quizzes from week 1 to week 12. Once the deadline is over, then you get to see the scores of it. Okay. Unit-wise progress we'll see in the next slide, and grading and certification policy we try to include in our presentation. So include in PPT. So don't have to worry about it. We'll cover that in our slides today. So okay. Now what you see here is the expansion of the unit-wise progress. Now the blue shades basically means that you have gone through the content up till here. So if you have completely seen the content, downloaded the video, is 100%. The empty ones basically means that this is the content which is still pending and you've not gone through it. Okay, so it's basically telling about how much content you have consumed, right? Okay. Now the course is completely free to learn from, which basically means that you don't have to pay anything if you just want to learn from the course. However, if you want a certificate, it shows that it's a validation that okay, you have taken the course. In that case, you have to give the physical examination, for which there is certain exam fee. Now there was a deadline of it. First it was 15th of August, and later it was exceeded to 22nd of August. So I think if you have uh, if you have registered for the examination, probably you'll get the certificate. Having said that, you must qualify for earning a certificate. Now, what I mean to say is that this is the criteria which needs to be taken care, which needs to be fulfilled in order to get a certification. Now, I would like you to take a minute to read what the slide is about, and I'll help you explain what we are trying to say. So there are two components to this entire course. One is the internal, second is the external, and the sum of it leads to the overall marking. Okay. When I say internal, I mean to refer to the 12 assignments which are there in your NPTEL course. So from week 1 to week 12, you are getting those 12 assignments, and this carry a weightage of 25%. Okay. Then there is that venue-based examination. Obviously, it is a proctored examination. You go to a center, you sit. So that is where the weightage given is more, which is 35%. And this actually sums up to be your 100% marks. Okay. Now, the catch here is that to gain a certificate, you need to qualify in a certain way, which means you need to get more than 10 marks here, more than 30 marks here, so that your overall score is more than 40. All right. Now, another aspect in the internals is that we consider the best 8 of 12 assignments. So there have been cases where students have missed out on their assignments, or they had joined later when the deadline was already over. So we only consider the best 8. Okay. So we've got 12 assignments, but we will take the best 8. And from that, we'll derive the 25 percentage weightage. Okay. Now, the catch here is that all these criteria have to be met, which means, for example, I scored 20 out of 25. I scored 25 out of 35. My overall score is 45. Do you think you'll get a certificate? Okay, let's check that. Now, here your score is above 40. It is fine. Here it is above 10. It is fine. But here it is less than 30, which means you are not meeting this criteria, which means you will not get the certificate. Let's take another scenario. For example, here you did not perform well. You scored only 5 out of 25. But here you did exceptionally well and you were able to get around 50 marks out of 35. And your overall score is 55 out of 100. Now you are meeting this criteria, you have met this criteria, but you are failing on this criteria. Again, no certificate. Okay. So what I want to highlight here is that individual criteria are critical so that your overall score is above 40. Now, if you are attempting these assignments and quizzes, and if you are going through the problem solving sessions, it is very, very likely that you will easily pass through this kind of marking. Okay. Now, this is how we have progressed from week one to week four. We started with the very basics of entrepreneurship, with the term evidence-based entrepreneurship and the role GDC has played. Uh, the week two was about hand-holding for entrepreneurship. We heard and all through the journey of Mustafa was from the IT industry and how it has flourished. We have seen in the recent times. And then there was a panel discussion with the members of the GTC community who had been a part of their various programs. The week three was about the methodology of innovation, wherein we saw Professor Chakrabarty's seven concerns, which starts from the cause and ends up connect. This was followed by the ideas program and the solar oven case study of Mr. Avinash from IIT Bombay. Then came week five, which was about healthcare and innovation, where Professor Ravi took the class, took the lecture, and he told about the innovation process, which comprised of 4Ds. Then comes week six, which was about human centered innovation and creating user experience design, wherein two IIT Bombay alumni, Shilpi and Mr. Dhayan, had come and shared their expertise, their opinions, their thoughts. And finally, week seven, where we had two lectures on humanizing technology by Professor Chakravarty. And then we had got the business model canvas by Professor Kosto, who also shared about the different business models format which are currently available. Just to review, just to recall what he discussed about the double whammy business model. He discussed about the perceived shortage business model and the fractional ownership. To give you an example, double whammy is like Duolingo, perceived shortages, Zara, Xiaomi, and fractional ownership is Netjets. So very, very excellent examples. It will really help you understand, what is content about, and you can actually have a good amount of time reading them, going through them, and understanding them. Okay. And then these are the two typology of questions. This has a single correct answer, and the other one has multiple correct answers. Okay. So here I can select only one of them, but the other one, which is the square box, I get the flexibility of selecting one, two, three, and even all four of them. Okay. If you have been a regular learner who is attempting the quizzes, the assignments, I think this is not a new information for you. But those who are very new to this, then yes, these are the two typology of questions, which is usually asked in the uh, assignment section. Okay. Now here comes the marking of multiple choice question. You can take a minute to understand what it's about, and I give an example, and let's try to infer it. This question is very straightforward and it is just to help you understand what we are trying to say. Okay, so which among the following games utilize a ball? So obviously, in cricket you utilize a ball, in hockey there is a ball, in table tennis you use a ping pong ball, and the snake and ladder is a board game which is about dices and pieces, so it does not require a ball. So, which means the incorrect answer is this. Okay, is incorrect. Now let's take the scenarios for helping you to understand what is it that we are referring to. Let's take the scenario one, and it says if all options chosen by the student are correct and no incorrect answer has been chosen, then full marks are awarded. Which means if I selected A, B, and C and I submitted it, I'll get full marks. So if it is a 1 mark question, I'll get 1 out of 1. Okay, let's take the scenario two. It says if at least one incorrect answer has been chosen, then no marks. For example, I selected A, B, and D. I selected A, B, C, and D. And I selected A and D. In all these, we are selecting the incorrect answer, which is D. So, no marks. Basically means zero. Now comes scenario three. If only correct answers are chosen, but not all correct answers are chosen, okay, then the partial marks proportional to the number of correct answers needs to be awarded. So, which basically means that if I had selected A, B, A, C, B, C, or individually I have selected A, B, or C, in all these situations, I'll be getting some kind of partial marking. Okay. Since two correct options, so 0.66 out of 1, and the single correct option may be 0.33 of 1. Okay. Now, this basically reflects upon the proportionate marking or partial marking. All right. Let's proceed further. So these were the GMET learners in the last week. Uh, okay, so congratulations for being consistent, for being present. Right. So now we'll be starting set of 30 plus questions. We'll go in the same format as we have been following through. What you need to do is you need to, I'll read the question, I'll read the options. You'll get 2 to 3 minutes to think upon it, reflect it, recall the content which you have seen, and you have to tell me what could be the correct answer. All right. So that you can say by typing it in the Google Meet chat box, or you can unmute and speak. Okay. So all these options are available. Whichever you think comfortable with, you can do that. Okay. So the first question is, what makes an idea valuable even if it fails? Okay. So it's a very interesting question because it also tells that not every idea is successful. There's a lot many things. Uh, in fact, entire ecosystem is required to make an idea successful and valuable. Okay. So now, what happens when it fades? Okay. The options are, for the question is, what makes an idea valuable even if it fails? So what is it that is still remains valuable even though the idea has failed? The options are avoiding collaboration to prevent shared blame, gaining valuable lessons and insights from the failure, shifting the focus to unrelated projects immediately, and disregarding accountability and blaming external factors. Okay. So I would request you to take some time, try and understand what the question is about. Let me know what would be the correct answer. Take some time, let me know. It's a very important question. It talks about the value in your idea, even if it fails. So you need to tell us what is it that you learned, even if your idea fails. Okay. Just, it's an idea and it got failed. All right. So what is it that you learned, even if your idea fails? Okay. Okay. What makes an idea valuable? How the idea can be still valuable even if it fails. The options are avoiding collaboration to prevent the shared blame, gaining valuable lessons and insights from failure, shifting focus to unrelated projects immediately, and disregarding accountability and blaming the external forces. That's the question. Now, see a lot, many things are critical now. Since we have already gone through the content, you will be realizing that, uh, having a good and a diverse team is very critical. Okay. In order to be successful, in order for that idea to be successful, good research is very, very critical. Good research, which basically means is that you have talked to your target audience or potential customers, right? So that good research is very, very critical. And then the market is also very critical. Market, product fit. Yeah, product market fit. That is also very critical. Now, yeah, apart from that, also there are many factors which are critical in order to be a successful uh, startup. But then, what happens if you fail? Maybe you're not having the good team. Maybe you're trying to do each and everything by yourself. But instead, if you have a diverse team, things would have been much better, much different, right? So, how do you address those things? Okay, so now the idea has failed. Now, what it brings to the plate, how it generates that value is something we're trying to understand. Okay, now the options are avoiding collaboration to prevent shared blame. Now, if you see, this is not telling us about any value, right? Option B says gaining valuable lessons and insights from the failure. So yes, if you fail, you would learn why you're failing. if you do a study on it, if you try to generate insights on it, for example, I'll tell you, let's take the examples from the politics. You would have heard that, if, say, for example, one of the party, any party which loses, we're not taking names of any party, but any party which loses, they say that, okay, we will try to understand our failure. Okay, we'll analyze the results. We'll analyze the results. We'll look into, what caused our failure. What were the factors that led, to the failures. That kind of analysis is required, even if you fail. Okay, because then you will learn, then you will gain valuable lessons that, okay, this was the factor because of which we were not able to. Even in cricket matches, okay, if you see in cricket, they also try and assess the loss, assessment of losses. So if you lose a complete series, then BCCI and the team will sit together. They'll try to find out what were the reasons, and the coach will sit down. They'll make a few changes in the team. They'll make a few changes in the ordering, of the players, and we'll try to get to a right combination, which helps them succeed. Okay, so that is what we are trying to say. That even if you fail, the important thing is to analyze and gain valuable lessons from it. So the second option makes sense. Third says shifting the focus to unrelated projects immediately. Now, how will it gonna help? Because now you are not getting any insights, you're not analyzing your failure, but instead you are shifting your mind to other projects. Even that will not help. And then finally, disregarding accountability and blaming external. So now that is something which as a human we always do. No, if we lose something, we try to blame. We don't try to own the blame. Yeah, that is a very human tendency. That is a very natural human tendency to not to own the blame. Okay. So let's look at the correct answer. As we have discussed, it is option B, which is gaining valuable insights, valuable lessons and insights from the failure. All right. It is option B. So even if you fail, whether it is a cricket match or a political party or whatsoever, even if you fail in your exam, it is important to analyze what were the reasons which caused the failure. What are those valuable reasons? And then generate insights so that the next time when you attempt, in your next attempt, you know what not to do. All right. It's very, very critical. Very, very critical. Even it's like a life lesson. Okay. It is not something related to entrepreneurship. It is like a life lesson. Okay. Fine. Let's proceed ahead. What makes an idea disruptive? Okay. We are trying to understand what makes an idea disruptive, which can shake the ecosystem. Okay. The options given to you are maintaining the existing state and avoiding innovation, imitating successful competitors to gain market share, introducing changes that challenge existing market norms, and strictly adhering to traditional market standards. All right. You've got four options in front of you. Try to interpret them, try to analyze them. We are trying to understand, how that disruptive idea and what it takes to make an idea disruptive. Okay. Options are maintaining the existing state and avoid innovation. So obviously, I mean, why would you avoid innovation? You know, the intent of having innovation is to disrupt. We want to innovate in order to disrupt the current ecosystem. Next is imitating successful competitors to gain market share, which means that you are trying to mimic what successful competitors are trying to do. Second is introducing changes that challenge existing market norms. Okay, so whatever the current practice in the market is, you're trying to bring certain changes to your organizations, to your startup, so that you're trying to challenge it. And lastly, strictly adhering to the traditional market standards. So you are not doing much change, you are following the market practices. Whatever is going in the market, you are actually going with the flow. Okay. With the flow. Okay. Which is similar to one, which is maintaining the existing state. So whatever you are doing, status quo, you are maintaining the status quo and you are trying to avoid innovation. So obviously, this won't be the correct answer because you are not trying to avoid innovation. We are trying to adopt innovation, right? We want to adopt innovation. We want to be disruptive, right? We don't want to avoid it. Why would you avoid innovation? Huh? No. Imitating successful competitors. Now, this might help that you follow the footsteps of what your competitors are doing. But do you think that imitating them would become disruptive? No. Why? Because they have already following. They have already adopted those models. You need to do something new to be disruptive, right? Yeah. So if you are imitating the successful competitors, you are following their footsteps. So you are not doing something new. You are still following their practices. In the first one, you are following whatever your company or startup is. In the second one, you are trying to imitate your competitors. It might help you in the in a short period of time for for raising it from A to B, but then it won't lead you to the disruption. Okay. The third is introducing changes that challenges the existing market norms. Okay, now this might be the correct answer. The fourth is strictly adhering to the traditional market standards, which means whatever the market is going on, whatever the flow is there, you are just trying to maintaining that flow. You are not thinking about any disruption. You are not thinking about anything new. Whatever the practice is going, you are purchasing something, you are selling something. You are purchasing something, you are selling something. That's it. Okay. So take a minute, think upon it, and we discussed what is the correct answer to this. Okay. You have to tell me what makes an idea disruptive. You've got four options. You can do it by adding a comment in the chat box and we'll then take over. So you have a minute to think upon and reflect and let me know. What makes an idea disruptive? Okay, let's try and understand this question. Okay, so as we discussed, it is option C because you are trying to challenge what is already existing in the market. Now, if you remember in the content, we are referring to the week one of the content. Okay, although we are in the week seven, but since this is an extra session, we are trying to understand right from the very beginning, week one to week six. Okay, now what were the examples given? Uber. How did it disrupt the ecosystem? So earlier we used to have taxi services. Okay, you need to visit a booth, taxi booth, and then you have to tell us, okay, I want to go there, and they will give you a slip, and then you'll have to go. Okay, or if you remember the auto rickshaw, okay, usually they would settle down in some kind of charaha or a square or in a taxi auto stand or a taxi stand. You have to go there and then you have to bargain, right? Bargain was also there, and then you'll get a auto or a taxi whatsoever. All right. So how it got changed is that the moment Uber came, they said that okay, you don't have to go to a certain place, right? You don't have to go to a taxi stand or auto stand. The taxi will actually come to the user. Okay. If you are there at your home, the taxi will come at your home. Okay. You don't have to reach out to the auto stand or a taxi stand. They will actually come to you. You don't have to worry about. And that is where it disrupted the ecosystem. How it disrupted again? Second option, that you don't have to bargain. Okay, there is no bargain. There's already a pre-filled. There's an amount which is mentioned. Okay, it'll take amount this amount of time. You agree to it, and then there's no hassle of change. Hassle of change means if you have to pay 50 rupees, but you don't have that 50 rupees, you have a 500 rupees. You might get a change. You might not get a change. Or then if it is about 187 rupees. Okay. So now with app-based service, you can actually pay right from your app-based transaction. So if you see the entire ecosystem, they had disrupted the entire ecosystem. They had disrupted the existing market norms, wherein you can actually get a taxi only from the taxi booth, or if you go to a square or a taxi stand or auto stand. Okay, the taxi will reach out to you. You don't have to bargain. The amount is prefixed, and there is no hassle of giving the change. Obviously, there are many more benefits. You can add multiple stops, which in the normal thing it is quite hard to do, right? You can book an outstation cab, all right? You can pick multiple number of people. You can share, the right details with your near and dear ones. Okay, so a lot of things have changed, and this is how it disrupted the existing market norms. So I think you all are now very well understood. You have understood, why the option C is correct. Let's proceed to the third question. How does entrepreneurship contribute to the economic growth? Okay, now here comes the economy part. And we are trying to understand how entrepreneurship is contributing to the economical growth. You've got four options in front of you, and if you know these all are what? Single correct answer questions. Okay. By developing robust business models without innovation, by focusing solely on customer validation and discovery, by identifying and solving market problems effectively, and by avoiding competitive risks through market isolation. Okay. So you've got four options, and we are trying to understand that how entrepreneurship is contributing to the economic growth. Think about it, let me know. It's not a very tricky question, although the choices are a little close by, but we'll understand through it. Okay, let's try and infer the options which are given. So the question is, how does entrepreneurship contribute to economic growth? Okay, so it could be economic growth of the country, economic growth of the nation, all right. Or in our context, we are talking about India. As simple as that. Okay, so that is to help you with the context. Options are by developing robust business models without innovation. Now here comes without, which does not has any good meaning. So this option is by itself not very correct because obviously we want to include innovation. Huh? We don't want to exclude innovation. Innovation is very, very critical. We have to include it. All right. Second is focusing solely on customer validation and discovery. Okay. Now we have understood from the content that yes, customer validation and discovery are quite critical. Okay. But do you think it is only about customer validation and discovery? Should it be solely the customer validation? By this, you might get a good product, good usable product. But then we are trying to understand how it is contributing to the economic growth. Now we are seeing at a zoomed out level. Okay. Zoomed out level. We are not looking at the zoom in level. Now, zoom in level is user level. That is the zoomed in level, right? Third is by identifying and solving market problems effectively. So whatever the problems are there in the market, you're identifying it and you're trying to solve it, right? That is also very critical. It could be a probable answer. By avoiding competitive risks through market isolation. Okay. So it says that you are actually avoiding the risks, competitive risks through market isolation. Do you think that by avoiding competitive risk, you would be able to contribute to the economic growth of the country? Anyone? It's hard, it's tricky, it's not that easy, right? And through market isolation, this again is doubtful why. So now what through the options, if we try to infer, like first and the last one might not be the correct answer. That is very critical. That is very, very evident from reading out the options as well. Now we are very close enough to B and C, which means by focusing solely on customer validation, discovery, and identifying solving market problems effectively. Now again, here the word solely is making it little weaker in terms of answer. Okay. If you remember, we want to make any successful if you want to make any startup successful, we need to have good product and at the same time we need to make money out of it. Right? Okay. So telling you the correct answer as expected, it is option C, which is by identifying and solving market problems effectively. Okay. Now just imagine if here instead of solely it would have added the market wala scope, then option B would have been correct. Okay. But since it does not include the market option, then it is about this identifying and solving the market problems quickly. Now, this actually includes option B in itself, or we can say option B is the subset of this particular option, which is option C. I hope I'm clear. If you have any doubt, you can ask the question, or else we'll proceed to our fourth question. Okay. Fourth question is, what are the objectives of the lean startup methodology when launching a new product or service? Okay. So you need to tell us key what are the key objectives of a lean startup methodology when you are launching a new product, any new offerings. Okay. So offering can be in terms of product or a service. Okay. What does it mean? I can give a new product. Now, Uber is like a service to you. Like IRCTC provides a service and Nika provides you products. All right, I hope that is clear. So the options are customer validation and iterative development, company building without market analysis, rapid scaling and long-term planning, and agile engineering without customer feedback. Okay, so I'll give you a couple of minutes to reflect upon this question. Take a couple of minutes, try to recall what has been taught, what you have learned, what you have gone through in terms of content from week 1 to week 6, because the question pertains to one of these weeks' content, and let me know your response. Key objectives. We are referring to the key objectives of lean starter methodology. So you can share your perspective in terms of in call messages. Let me know what could be the correct answer. Take a minute to reflect upon this, think about it, and let me know. Think about it. Let me know. Very direct question. Key objectives we are trying to figure out. If you have any thoughts, please let me know. The options are customer validation and iterative development, company building without market analysis, rapid scaling, long term planning, and agile engineering without customer feedback. Okay, let's try to infer it and from the correct answer. Okay. So correct answer is customer validation and iterative development. Now let's try and see what the other options are. All right. Okay. So if you see, the first one is customer validation. It is very critical. I think we've already understood from the content. Customer discovery is something which has been pointed out as very, very critical step. The anybody who has gone through the programs, they are advised to at least meet 100 customers and then go ahead with the product development. Verify the problems, right? Second is company building without market analysis. So market analysis is very important. When you do customer discovery, also try and understand, what are the products these people are using for the same cause. How is it that they're trying to figure out the solutions at their end, right? So that will help you make a good product market fit. All right. So again, that is critical. It cannot be excluding market analysis. Rapid scaling and long-term planning. See, rapid scaling requires a lot of effort. It will require a lot of finance, a big team, right? So when you are launching a new product or service, then this might not be the correct course of action. And the last one is agile engineering without customer feedback. Now, again, customer is like God. It's very critical, very, very needed step. Customer discovery, talking to potential customers. So, anything without the customer will not lead you to any profitable thing. Okay. So, if you see the other options, you'll understand that option A is the correct one. All right. Let's go to the fifth question. What are some common mistakes startups make? Refer to the week one content. Now we are currently at the week one content. All these questions are from the week one content where we try and understand evidence based entrepreneurship. I hope you are able to recall, guys. There's also GDC. We got introduced to GDC and then why startups fail. Mistakes. All this we have discussed in the week one. Okay. The options are adopting the lean startup methodology, focusing too much on the product and neglecting the market, developing solutions without engaging with the potential customers, and preparing a business plan and estimating the market size. Now you have to tell us the common mistakes. Okay. The question is about identifying the common mistakes. गलतियां. या फिर आप ऐसे करें इसको आम गलती जो स्टार्टअप्स करते हैं वो क्या होती है? What are those common mistakes? So again, take a minute or two, try to understand the question, reflect upon it, and let me know what could be the right answer. Think about it, reflect upon it, and let me know. So again, I'll repeat the question. What are the common mistakes which startups make? We've got four options from adopting learning startup methodology to focusing too much on product, developing the solutions without engaging or talking with the potential customers, and preparing a business plan and estimating market size. You have to tell us the common mistakes. All right, let's try to figure out the correct answer and explain the correct answers. Right. So the correct answers to the questions on common mistakes are option B and C. Okay. And we'll figure out why these are correct ones. Okay. So B says focusing too much on the product and neglecting the market. Now we have already understood that a good product market fit is very, very critical. So if you are neglecting the market, then you are not having a good fit there. Okay. And then developing solutions without engaging with the potential customers. Now, we have already seen that potential customers are very, very critical. You've got to meet 100 plus users, customers to identify your problem area, to find the evidence in terms of entrepreneurship. So, both of these are very, very common mistakes. Now, if you see the first one, it says adopting the lean startup methodology. Now, it is not a mistake, and we are referring to mistakes. Okay. And the second is preparing a business plan and estimating a market size. But again, it is not a mistake. It is an approach. You can prepare a business plan, you can estimate the market size. Obviously, we need to think about scaling up options, and that is where all these are critical, right? So the correct answer to the questions are option B, which is focusing too much on the product, and option C, which is developing solutions without engaging the potential customers. Let's go to our sixth question. Which among the following could be a crucial factor in team's unity and success? Okay. Now we are talking about the crucial factor in a team's unity. Okay. If you have a team around you, what could be the crucial factor of the success and the unity of the team? Okay. Is it individual achievements, lack of diversity, frequent disagreements, or shared vision and common ideology? I think it's a very direct one. You can take a minute, let me know. It's a very direct question. It does not require the entire content to recall. You'll be able to answer it if you have gone through the content. So just take a minute, reflect upon, and let me know. The crucial factor in team's unity and success, individual achievements, lack of diversity, frequent disagreements, or shared vision and common ideology. Which among them is the correct answer? Tell me that. Right, let's see the correct answer. Any guesses? Okay, the correct answer is option D, which is the shared vision and common ideology. All right. This is a crucial factor in a team's unity and success. If you'll have a shared vision, everybody would be passionate about that vision. They'll work together as a team and you will achieve goals. Achieve your goals. Okay. Right. Let's go to the question number 7. How do customer interactions contribute to effectively identifying and addressing the market needs? By gathering indirect feedback on products and services. I'm sorry, by gathering direct feedback on products and services, by uncovering customer pain points and preferences, by validating the business ideas and assumptions, and all of the above. Okay. The question is, how do customer interactions contribute to effectively identifying and addressing market needs? Now, what do you mean by customer interaction? So, I hope you recall the term talking to the potential customers. So when you talk to the potential customers, you are basically interacting with them. Okay, it can be verbal call, it can be on phone or through letters, emails. You are trying to interact with the customer. So that interaction channels can be different. Okay, it can be in person, can be over a call, or it can be in write-ups and chats, right? So you need to tell us how they contribute to addressing market needs. Options are there by gathering direct feedback on products and services, by uncovering customer pain points and preferences, by validating business ideas and assumptions, and all of the above. I think it is very critical. I mean, all these are important. So probably all of the above is the correct answer. When you do interact with the customers, you gain direct feedback on the products or services. You uncover the customer pain points. What is the challenges they are facing? What are their preferences? You also validate your business ideas and assumptions. And all this is happening just by one thing, customer interaction. Right? It's very, very critical. You must do it. All of the above is the correct answer. Let's proceed to our eighth question. Who plays the most crucial role in validating the success of a startup's product or service? Okay. So any product, any startup who has any product or service offering, who validates the success? कौन validate करता है? Options are the founder, the investors who are putting in money, the customers who are using it, or the marketing teams inside a company. Okay. कौन validate? Who validates the success? Again, it's a very direct question. Take a minute and let me know. Again, a very direct question. The crucial role in validating the success of the startup. Product or service. Four options we've got. Founders who have founded the idea, founded the startup, the investors who have put in the money, the customers who are using the product, and the marketing teams who have created the various marketing channels and reached out to the customers. Let's see the correct answer. Uh, Obviously, in this we have seen that the customer has always remained the king, and the customers is the right answer. Because we are talking to potential customers, we are trying to build a product market fit which the customer needs, and we are trying to solve customers' problem. Okay, it is not the founder who will tell the success. It is not the investors who have put in the money. It is the customers who are using the product, using the product or service. All right. Let's get to our ninth question. What action should founders take when faced with stagnation in the progress? What action should founders take when faced with stagnation in the process? Stagnation, you mean stagnate हो जाना, रुक जाना. Okay, so if you are getting stuck, no, stagnate, आप उसको getting stuck भी बोल सकते हो. Reevaluate the business strategy and pivot if necessary. Increase marketing efforts and budget. Ignore the issue and hope for improvement. Cut down the expenses and reduce the size. Okay. You need to tell us the action taken by founders when faced with the stagnation. And to give you a hint, we are referring to Miss Mayuri, who has been a marine biologist. If you recall the week two content, wherein the GDC, the people from the GDC team had undergone the course, and one of them was Miss Mayuri, a marine biologist, Roha Biotech. I hope you are able to recall. And that is a hint for this particular question. If you are stuck, if you are facing stagnation, what is it that you do? Do you reevaluate your business strategy and pivot? Do you increase the marketing efforts? Do you ignore the issue and hope for the improvement, or do you cut down the expenses and reduce the team size? So, again, take a minute, comprehend, reflect upon it, and let me Okay, let's see the correct answer. Just give me a minute. All right. So, what actions should a founders take? The correct answer is to reevaluate the business strategy and pivot if it is necessary, right? And if you recall, Ms. Murray, we talked about this pivoting and how they got stuck with the market challenges, but then they pivoted it to get the right and appropriate product market fit, and it helped them in the overall process. Let's go to our 10th question. What is an essential quality that startup founders must possess? The essential quality. Okay, it's very important. The options are strong belief in the startup's vision, pursuit of endless funding, rapid product development skills, and exceptional programming expertise. What is an essential quality that the startup founders must possess? Let's go from the bottom. Exceptional programming expertise. Now, this is very domain specific. Now, it can be referred to coding skills, but this is very domain specific. Founders need to go beyond the role of their own domain, right? They have to manage the overall operations. Obviously, they need to have people who are taking care of finance, marketing, and all, but then it is very domain specific. So, it cannot be the correct answer. Rapid product development skills. Product development skills are critical, but why rapid? It needs to take time. The customer discovery needs to take time, and accordingly, you need to have to your product development. Pursuit of endless funding. That again is very very money centric goal. You can never have endless funding. Obviously, you can have some funding which can help you, but then funding also comes in installments. Okay, so you'll be getting some amount of money, and then you'll have to show that you have utilized the money in the right way. It is going in the right direction. Then only you get installments. There are hardly very few people who would give the entire set of money at one go. Okay, and the first one is strong belief in the startup's vision. So the correct answer is option A. Having a strong belief in the startup vision is very very critical, an essential quality for startup founders. All right. Let's go to the 11th question. What can be the main reason for a failure of a startup? Okay. If a startup is failing, what could be the reason of it? We're talking about the main reason. No real need for the product or service, a skilled and experienced team having sufficient investors and offering a user friendly product. It's a very direct question. I would say is that you only tell me what would be the right answer. Use the chat box and let me know. Okay. Take your time, let me know. Okay, let's figure out the correct answer. Let's be very quick in that. The main reason for the failure of a startup is no real need of the product or a service. Usually we don't do the customer discovery that well, and this is basically because of no in-depth customer discovery or customer validation. So when you don't do it, this happens. Okay, let's proceed further. What role do early adopters play in helping a company refine its products or services? Okay, you have to tell what kind of role does early adopters play in refining the products or services. They assist in marketing the product to a better, broader audience. They provide critical feedback and improve the product. They expand the product production capacity and offer financial support for scaling operations. The role of early adopters in helping a company refine its products or services. Let's see the correct answer and then we'll explore the options. So the correct answer is option B, provide critical feedback to improve the product. And if we reflect upon the earlier, the other choices, offer financial support for scaling operations. No, they don't offer the funding. They are basically a kind of customer segment. Okay, it's just that they are wearing the customer hat. They are not funders, right? They are not funders. Please understand. Expand production capacity to meet demands. Again, they are not workers, so they cannot help you in the production capacity. Assist in marketing the product to a broader audience. Again, they are not marketeers. They won't be marketing for you. They are there to provide critical feedback to improve the product. Okay. Remember in the week 7, it was about early adopters are those who are in the dire need and ready to experiment. All right. So they have a dire need and they are ready to experiment, and those people will actually give you critical feedback on how to improve the product. Right. So the correct answer is 12B. Let's come to the 13th question. What role does empathy play while designing a product? Options are enhances aesthetics, which is the look and feel, reduces manufacturing costs, fosters competition among designers. So there is a competition, they're fighting each other, and promote user centered design. Okay. You need to tell us the role played by empathy. Now, how empathy plays a role in. We've got a vote here. Option D. Let's see if there are any other responses. All right, let's see the correct answer. It is option D, as suggested by one of the learners. Empathy promotes user centered design. What empathy means? Empathy is different from sympathy. It is about putting yourself in the shoe of the user. All right. So when you do that, you try to understand the pain points, the challenges, the perceptions, the perspectives, and that helps you in promoting the user-centered design. Okay, human-centered design. That is the approach we try and follow. And obviously, it does not help in aesthetics or manufacturing cost or fostering competition. It is primarily to promote the user-centered approach of designing. All right. Let's go to our 14th question. 14th one, it says, what are the key qualities that each member must possess when working as a team? Okay, so there is a team with multiple people. All right, you need to tell us what role they need to play when working as a team. Flexibility and willingness to adapt, lowering the ego and collaborating effectively, taking specific roles to solve the problem, and all of the above. So just imagine if this is your team. Let's say there are three members in it. What is it that confirms to the key quality? Is it about flexibility and willingness to adapt, lowering the ego and collaborating effectively, taking specific roles to solve the problem, or all of the above? Okay, I'll give you a minute. Think about it. Let me know, and then we'll see the correct answer. Key qualities each member that must have to possess when working as a team. All right, so let's see the correct answer. It is all of the above. All are the key qualities which are very much required in the each team member while working as a team. Okay, you need to be flexible and willingness to adapt. You need to collaborate effectively without your ego coming in between. You may adopt specific roles to solve a problem. For example, you can wear a hat of HR, the other person wears a hat of marketing, right? The other takes care of the finance. So, as a three-member team, you can take different roles to solve a problem, and obviously, all of these make sense. All right. Let's come to question number 15. What are the key elements essential for creating a clear and concise design brief? Functional and user requirements, budget estimates and target audience, project timeline and brand vision, and comprehensive technical specifications. You've got four options. You need to tell the key element for creating a clear and concise brief. Okay. Design brief. Options are functional and user requirements, budget estimates and target audience, project timeline and brand vision, and comprehensive technical specifications. You've got four options in front of you, and one of them is the correct answer because it's a single correct answer question. You have to tell that. Take a minute, let me know, and we'll tell you the correct answer. Okay, so let's see the correct answer. It's A, which is the functional and user requirements. The key elements essential for creating a clear and concise design brief is the functional and user requirements. Okay, let's go to the 16th question. What is the importance of collaborative design in product development? Okay, I hope you all remember collaboration. facilitates resource sharing and expertise integration, streamlines the manufacturing process, enhances the aesthetic appeal, and simplifies administrative tasks. Okay. So we are talking about collaboration, and you need to tell us how it helps in the product development cycle. Okay. It's a very direct question. Is it about resource sharing and expertise integration? Is it about, so one of the learners has said, why? Is it about streamlining the manufacturing process, about enhancing the aesthetic appeal, just the look of it, simplifies the administrative tasks, the meetings, the formats, the minutes of meetings, and those things? Let's see the correct answer. Yes, indeed, it is option A, which is facilitating the resource sharing and expertise integration. Very well done. Thanks for that. Collaborative design helps in resource sharing and expert integration. It is not about streamlining the manufacturing process, neither about aesthetic appeal or about administrative process. Okay, let's reach out to question number 17. How can using regulatory barriers help in product design? It simplifies the administrative processes, it encourages unrestricted innovation, it ensures public health and legal compliance, and promotes informal market practices. I mean, just to help you, what do you mean by regulatory barriers? Obviously, barriers means they are some kind of obstructions, and regulatory means that you need to follow certain regulations. Okay. For example, if you are in a food industry, you will have to take certification of FSSAI. If you are in terms of electric appliances or things like that, you have to take ISI mark. Okay. Then there is this ISO standards as well, which you have to take into consideration, right? So those are the regulatory bodies for various domains which you have to be in compliance with because they convey certain standards that you are meeting certain standards, right? So we've got one vote for option C. Let's wait if we get more views, more votes, and we'll tell the correct answer. Let's get the correct answer. It is yes, it is option C, which is ensuring public health protection and legal compliances. Because the moment you get that certification, it means that you have a quality standard product and the customers believe that. It's kind of a mark which the customer believes in. And when you are following that compliances, it ensures public health protection. All right. So very well done. Let's go to our question number 18. Which element is essential for crafting an effective problem statement? Options are providing a detailed solution, defining the problem clearly, establishing a strict budget. This is related to the monetary aspect, highlighting only the team's capabilities. Okay. Again, it's quite a direct question. You've got one vote for option B. You need to tell us the essential for crafting an effective problem statement. Which element is essential for crafting a effective problem statement? We are trying to develop a problem statement, problem brief. Does it need to have a solution? Does it need to have a well defined problem? Does it need to have a established and restricted budget? And should it highlight the team's capabilities? Take a minute, let me know. Just check if the recording is progressing in the same way. Yes, the recording is on. So what we'll do is we'll try to cover 20 questions today, and the remaining questions we'll do in our next extra session. All right. So for today, we'll restrict to 20 questions. Okay. Let's see the correct answer. The correct answer is option B, which is defining the problem clearly. Okay. So while crafting an effective problem statement, obviously you need to define the problem very clearly. If you are drafting a problem statement, why would you want to have a detailed solution? So first one doesn't make sense. Establishing a strict budget. Now that is a constraint. Okay. That is a constraint. That is not an essential component in crafting a problem statement. And highlighting only team's capabilities. Now this also doesn't make sense. What background they have, what kind of capabilities they have. Obviously, while making a team, you need to consider that. But when you're talking about problem statement, it needs to basically define the problem very clearly. All right. Let's go to our second last question. Identify the term used for previously granted patents and published patent applications. So there is one term which basically covers both these aspects. One term which covers both these aspects. Is it prior art? Is it reference documents, past literature, or intellectual archives? The term used for previously granted patents and published patents applications. Now, let me tell you, these are all a part of intellectual property, and we have an India Patent Office. Now, intellectual property can be of multiple aspects. You can have patents, you can have copyrights, you can have trademarks, and you can also have design registrations. All right. But here we are basically referring to the patents. So this is basically for your understanding of what all it entails in. The previously granted patents and published patent applications, what is the term given to it? Okay, let's see the correct answer. The correct answer is prior art. Okay, it is the term which is used while you are referring to the already published and granted patents. Okay, we use the term prior art. And let's arrive upon our last question. What could cause a startup to fail despite having an innovative product? Okay, so you need to tell key, although a startup has an innovative product, but then what can lead to its failure? Options are addressing user pain points effectively, prioritizing user satisfaction or customer satisfaction, lack of understanding of customer needs, and regular customer feedback for product development. What could cause a startup to fail despite having a innovative product? Something which is very different, something which is not existing. Got one vote for option C. So just imagine there's a startup. They have a very innovative product, probably such innovative that they have also secured a patent, which is an intellectual property, but the startup is failing. Why? Let's see the correct answer. The correct answer is option C, which is lack of understanding the customer needs. Okay. If you see the other option, it says addressing the user's pain point effectively. Yes, you need to do it. Okay. Prioritizing the customer satisfaction, that is also very much required. Regular customer feedback for product review, that is also required. So the failure could only happen because of lack of customer need, because the other options are basically needed. These are critical steps. They are very much needed. But if you don't have a good understanding of customer needs, even if your product is innovative, you have secured a patent of it, it won't be a success. For a product to be innovative, it needs to reach the masses. Okay, that's very critical. So, with that, we conclude our session for today. Let me go back to, sorry, meeting point. I'll stop presenting. And so we conclude today's session for all of you. This session was basically an extra session. So we were not discussing any week specific content, but we were having questions right from week 1 to week 6, and we were having a range of questions. So if you have attended it, you have got something more, a bonus learning as compared to the other learners, right? So keep a note of these questions. These are again critical questions, interesting questions, but yet questions that will help you understand this content, in a more better way, and it will also help you in preparing you for your final examination, right? So the same extra session will also be conducted at the closure of 12th week, and we'll let you know the date and time of that extra session, and it will again be in a similar format, and you'll be able to gain a lot of learning from these extra questions. Okay, so with that, let's conclude the day. Thank you for being there, and have a good weekend. Bye.